everybody. Welcome back to whatever this is called, the podcast where we consistently have face on our face. I am Scott Taylor here, as always, with Mr. Steven Garcia. Steve, how you doing?
Great. I always have at least 3 faces on my face.
I was going to say, I'm batting 225 faces there. So working my way up. So it's episode 7. We're almost through Welcome to Derry. Just hit episode 7. It's peaking, some would say, because we're at the big point that we knew was going to happen. So we got a lot to talk about today. So let's dive in.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
So we start the episode off, and it's a flash backwards, and we get to see Bob Gray, right? Bob Gray as the original origin of Pennywise. What did you think of Skarsgård and his portrayal there?
Oh, I thought it was really interesting. I thought I was looking for maybe like a dark version of this clown because I felt like Pennywise would be attracted to him because maybe he has a darkness in him or something. But I was totally wrong about that. He was just a normal clown. I mean, this is top tier entertainment back in 1908? Is that what it was?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking for kids at least, and the traveling show, circus, whatever, freak show. So yeah, he plays to the kids. And it's such involved, detailed little clown show. I mean, I'm assuming he was talking about his wife, dying. Mm-hmm. And you're playing this for kids, and you have the appropriate, So, I mean, he really captured that audience, and it was really interesting to watch because, as you could see at the end of his show, you saw that little kid up in the barn watching. And I thought, oh, okay, that's why he's attracting the kids, so he's attracted to that. How do I get these kids? Because I think he prefers the kids because they're more tasty or something. I can't remember exactly why, but it was great. What did you think about that?
Yeah, I think
10-minute show.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good origin story. I think you got to see, that he had his faults, alcoholism and. He liked a good cigarette, and you could see that there were some problems. He used to be in the circus, and now they're just in this small traveling show. So he's definitely had some issues going there. He has some inner demons.
Yeah.
And Pennywise was able it was able to work on those issues and use those to kind of pull him in.
Yeah, it kind of shows you the intelligence that this thing has, entity, whatever it has, and being able to figure out how to catch better prey or how to reverse engineer, what do you call those, NPCs? Or I don't know what you call them, but these like totems. So I can use a human as a totem, and I can get to more people more kids and more people. So kind of gives you that insight too as well.
Yeah, I think it's it's interesting that anytime I see it in a physical form trying to be human, there's always something off.
Yeah.
Right? And if you watch Pennywise, when he's Pennywise later on or whatever, when he's like clapping and stuff, it's not right clapping. It's not how you or I would clap. It's like Steve Martin trying to snap in The Jerk. And I get, I know that you don't get that reference, but somebody out there is going to get that reference. He's just off time with it. It's just not the right thing. So whenever he tries to interact with people as a human entity, you can always tell it's a little bit different. He did a great job when he was the little boy this season, right? When he came back.
Yeah.
But there's always something a little bit off, and I think it showed that well when he came as the little boy. Like, his first thing wasn't, hey, hi, mister. It was, you really lure in the kids. Like, the kids really like you. He talks, it's kind of like Billy Bob Thornton and Sling Blade. It's just very few words, like just, the core, just get right to it.
Or, it's not going to be any good tomorrow. Do you remember that? Do you know that
Happiness?
Reference?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, happiness. Coming out your ears. Little sidetrack there. But yes, it's the show that he puts on is great. Like you said, it's all like high tech for the time. They're using levers. They're making the little hedgehog pop up and steal the flowers, and they're using the wires for the dress and him dancing. I mean, that was a whole routine, which was great.
Yeah,
I do think it showed that he had his own little demons there that he was trying to get over.
Yeah, and it's interesting too how back in the day, like, alcohol and cigarette companies were like, hey, you feel bad? We'll make you feel better. Mm-hmm. It goes all the way back to the beginnings of that stuff. So
I think Skarsgård did great with Ingrid. with being the dad to Ingrid. That whole scene of them inside, him saying it'll be Pennywise and Periwinkle, and her recognizing that's mom's stage name. Like,
Yeah.
it was played really well, really, really beautiful. Got you into the character really quickly. And it was,
the kid actors they use. I mean, I was kind of I think remember in episode 1, I was kind of hesitant, but they've kind of come through and the segments that they have at the end where all the kids or a couple of the kids have referred to having a acting coach on set, and it's really shown that that's a good thing because they're really kind of capturing the essence of what being a kid back then was, So
yep. So they did great. Young Ingrid did great there, and it was a good story to see. I do think maybe next episode we're going to see a little bit more about Bob Gray and what happened in the forest there. Like, I don't think that they leave it hanging that it was just this handkerchief. I think they got to show something. People want to see what happened there, and I think they will get there.
You think so? I mean, because it's hinted. Well, he just comes out and says it. Oh, I ate him, but it's hinted too that when he eats somebody, he doesn't leave much behind. But then you see his lair, his evil lair, and you see all the body parts and the blood, and so maybe, yeah, you're right. Maybe there could be some there.
I'm thinking just they're going to show us the actual act of him being eaten or him turning into Pennywise the first time. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. That's what
okay. I see what
I'd be
you're saying.
interested to see.
Yeah.
Maybe they will next episode. We still got a whole episode. We'll see.
Yeah, that teaser trailer for the next episode is the fog coming into the town. Oh, that's great. It's awesome.
Yeah. So they dive right from that right back to the black spot, and we get right into it, right back where we were.
Man, that just fills me with dread. Like, my family came up in a similar kind of predicament. They came up in Healdsburg, which was a really small town back in the 50s and 60s. And, they kind of faced that stuff. And it really impacted me in that way to think about how your life has to be lived in such a way that it doesn't draw too much attention from people, and that you have to go out in the woods or you have to go somewhere, hidden almost to have a good time and then just to see that again. And again, we were talking about this earlier in earlier episodes on how it kind of manipulates the already tense atmosphere of, racism and hatred and suspicion and lynching and all this other stuff, especially of that time, and how he uses that to kind of create these moments of just dread and just horror, So
it stirs the pot.
It did its job.
The pot.
Yeah.
And we get to see that, and it comes to a boil, and it's they firebomb the black spot. They lock the doors. They shoot anybody that's trying to get out.
Yeah.
And it's just a horrible situation. You got the kids running around inside. You got Dick Halloran trying to save them, talking to dead people just to try to save the situation, help the kids.
Well, that's what I was waiting for some dude when they're all inside, even the guys with the masks were inside. I was waiting for some dude to come behind them and shut the door like a Bronx Tale and be like, "Now yous can't leave." That's what I was waiting for, that because I'm like, man, how do you get away from that? That would have been. There's just all these sorts of things I would have done, but yeah, I was waiting for that, but it didn't happen, and it it wasn't supposed to happen that way. So.
Yeah, and they get that one long kind of continuous scene, continuous camera
that
shot.
oneer, yeah.
Just all the different angles back and forth and back and forth.
And then
one thing when you're coming down a hallway and like you're just moving backwards, kind of.
Right. Yeah.
This is like you're going over here to the right. Now you're going to turn around, swing 90 degrees. Now you're going to go back this direction. Now you're going back over there.
Yeah.
That's just going to be super complicated.
I think you said that it took them 3 days to rehearse that, just to rehearse. That's fun, crazy.
Yeah, they had like 45 people or something like that. They had to direct.
Yeah. And I don't know how long it took them. It's maybe 5 days to film it or something. I can't remember what the actual numbers were, but it's amazing to kind of, to see that involved of a shot to come to fruition. And as a filmmaker, I'm sure it's like, we did it. But at the same time, I feel like a nitpick. This is not a big deal, but it's like the kind of heat to fire to heat ratio, I felt like would have just cooked those people like really quick. But it's a little nitpick. It didn't really bother me too much.
It was a big like tin box too.
Yeah.
Like those military barracks.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of wood there. Like definitely using metal for cheapness and quickness. So we see the fire. We go back to the MacGuffin of the fridge leaking water and the floorboards from a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
And they make their way out that way, except for the pirate and the knight.
Oh, man. I thought those kids were going to get out of there. Well, I didn't think that Ronnie was going to make it out, but I thought Marge and Rudy, is that his name? Rich. We're going to make it out, but I didn't see that one coming. And they did the whole Titanic thing there, which I thought a lot of callbacks in this episode. And there was a lot of callbacks of little scenes like the Titanic scene where there's, there is room, but he just has to get on top, but.
Yeah, that scene, it took me out of it a little bit. Like, I get it, but he's just lying on top. Like, she's not trying to force her way out of it. Like, she's not really putting her weight into, like, kicking the lid off the thing to get out and be with him.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's just lying on top, and he kisses it, and then he's, like, slowly telling her this story.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
Is he going to burn yet? Like, come on, buddy. Just
exactly.
That's what I
was
to see.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The fire to heat ratio. I feel like he just would have been caught. I mean, if you go to a bonfire campfire and you just get and it's a pretty big one, you get you can't really get that close to it. And this thing is huge and it's a whole thing. And I felt like their skin would have just ignited just because of the heat, and then your insides boil and then you're out. No, sorry. I got carried away there. But
so you think, Marge, do you think the theory of her being Richie's mom is true and that she named Richie after Rich?
I just saw that. Before we came on, I was watching a few things on the internet or on YouTube about, they're saying, I just heard of that. Like, probably, what is it? Like 10, 15 minutes ago, I just heard that. It would I guess it would make sense. I mean, to see that Marge turns into that, it's kind of disappointing, but trauma does a lot of weird things to people. So
yeah, we also have Will's dad turning into the grandpa, right? And nobody could see that happening. Nobody can see, why would he stick around? Why would he be there? And the whole purpose.
Oh, I thought he was dead. Yeah.
The grandpa. Yeah. But he's gonna live because we saw the grandpa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that he's gonna make it out. But why would he stay? Why would he stay there? So same thing with her. Like, it's all about the cycle, and it just ramps it up to 11. And then nothing. And then people are just sedated. They forget about it after a while and brought down to 0. And then he's able to just ramp it back up 27.
Yeah, it's why he would stay. Yeah, I think maybe it's just because the memory. I mean, obviously, I don't know if what happens to the wife, but obviously he just knows that there's a lot of his loved ones have passed here, or loved ones, or whatever. His partner, his soldier partner. Rudy Mancuso, I don't know what his name was, but so there's a lot of. I think that's what ties him there. Just knows that anywhere he goes, he's going to be faced with racism and that kind of that hard. Just I don't know.
Yeah, but you go anywhere else, there's no giant clown trying to eat you. Like,
that's true.
So I think for him staying, I think he has some ownership of what's happening here, because as the episode goes on, they're able to find the little totem, the little black spike in the turtle shell, and they're able to destroy it. And he tries to stop them, and I think he feels responsible because he helped with all of it. So maybe that's the reason he sticks around, that he stayed that long.
Yeah.
I also think with, say, Pennywise and It going after children like Marge, you have that lull of time, so she's able to forget about it, have a kid, and then you think, well, why would she even raise a kid there? Well, by that time, she's forgotten about it.
Yeah.
It numbed her completely.
Yeah.
So, and that might be the reason why he goes after kids too, is because he knows he can, and the ones that are left are just going to stay and are going to perpetuate the cycle.
That's a great point. Because a lot of the adults in this iteration, are blind to the evilness of the kids, even if the kids are, or whatever they're doing. Like the adults are just, so yeah, that's probably another reason why he stays too, because he just doesn't, I guess I don't know what they said in the earlier episodes, but it's like they almost forget, and they don't see it. And
It's like they're anesthetized, like it's some sort of anesthesia that just, kind of lulls them back to that state, makes them numb to what's going on around them.
Yeah.
They're David at the dentist, but with the creepy clown coming after him every 27 years. So we get to see Ingrid in her full costume at 60 whatever years old, trying to get her dad back. That was a very interesting scene.
Dude, that was brutal. It just showed you the evilness. I mean, it's evil, but it's also like, it's just evil. It's pure evil. And it comes across the way he kills her husband, and eats his head. And it's just, man, and that's what I was hoping that this series would kind of get to, the depths of the evilness that this series would get to, was not just, it scares kids, but the evilness of like going in and eating people while they're trying to get out of a fire and taking advantage of that, and then trying to kind of scare Halloran with all the people that he brought with him, and he knows how to deal with Halloran, and it's just, and then it's just evil, pure evil, and it was the only time in this series, and I love the series, but it was the only time in this series that it really showed me like the depths of evil that it is. And that's what, this series is kind of great for us, because I don't know how it's going to, or I have a theory, it's going this way, and it's zagged. And that's what I like about this series, is that it's just, for its faults, it's not the perfect series, but it's got enough of it to where I'm like, I got to see it next week. I got to see what happens, how this ties up, so.
I've got some of that Back to the Future, like time travel-y type questions, but with the Pennywise and it and the logistics of all of that. I've been talking with ChatGPT about it, trying to wrap my head around it. One thing I was thinking was like, well, her husband, like Pennywise kills him with a big hatchet, right? Like a cleaver that he would use at the butcher shop. And Pennywise can create things that are physical, right? So like balloons. Those are, they're real balloons. Someone can hold them and tangibly touch them, I guess.
Yeah.
And you would need something physical to slice through his head that way. So what level can Pennywise make something physically? Like, could he make a rocket launcher? Could he make
I think maybe it's
elliptical machine, something like that? Like, I don't know.
Melatonin, so you can get a better rest in those 27 years? I think it materializes from him. So like his limbs, not to say that, to say that it's like almost like an appendage of whatever he's touched or whatever he's ever kind of come across, maybe, where he's touched something or someone's used it against him, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe
kind
he
of like
could do
in
it
the
that way.
Superior Terminator movie, Terminator 2, when he stretches out his, liquid body. Are you saying like that?
I can't remember a Superior Terminator movie, but no, something like that. But something that's, I feel like it's something that the person he's attacking is involved with, So I feel like that's where he can kind of.
Mm-hmm. Well, he regardless of how he got it, he slices his head just clean open, and
that's right. It's not it's not here or here, but it's here. You
see the bottom jaw. You see just
Jesus,
amazing image.
Yeah,
and then she's thrown off, and I love, like I said, how even as Pennywise, he can't quite be human. He's basically like,
yeah,
I'm gonna go now. That's basically it. She's like, where are you going? He's like, to sleep, and that's it, and just like turns away. And I'm like, this is so weird. But one thing I notice is he's not afraid of her. He's not going to hurt her. He's just like, I don't need her. She's doing this stuff. He's like, I'll see you again.
Yeah.
No, she's going to be dead probably. She's in her 60s.
Well, but
he also goes, when he's going away, she leans in and she goes, don't leave me. And she grabs him. And you can see he turns and he's drooling at that point. And what I felt like that was him going, there's that fear.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll get a little bit more.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is. It's an interesting scene because it kind of shows what she's putting into the kind of connection that they have. I mean, you know, her dad died when she was little, and her mom died when she was little. So it's this thing of like these people have left me, but they never found my dad's body. So it's like, well, he's out there. There's a possibility he's still out there.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is kind of, it doesn't really. I think in the episode where she brings the little kid down for him, and she's like, Papa or Daddy, and he realizes that like, oh, this is the I can use this somehow, bring him down to the boiler room, and then you see it kind of in this scene as well, that dynamic of like, I'm doing this. I called this tip in because I knew you'd be here because I wanted to see my dad and what happened to him and all that, and he's just like, poor baby, like not knowing how to comfort people because that's just not what it does. And it was just an interesting dynamic to see because so much of it is just her longing for her dad and the love that she has for dad. And what evil tends to do is use that against you, at some point. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the drooling aspect that whenever that happens, you can tell he's like, oh, this is good.
And when
Oh,
they
I'm looking
hug
for-
too, he's just like,
Yeah.
we're there, like, what is this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a
So-
great scene. And she
Yeah.
ends up seeing the deadlights, and she's, kind of comatose-ish. She kind of stares at the kids when, they're taking her
Yeah.
out on a stroller. But so we get to see that at the end. And then we see them, get the little black spire, and they destroy it. We get to see that great shot of Pennywise just in his little hibernation state. Is up to his nose to toes, blood, and we see him wake up because something has.
One of the
Kind of
bars
lesson.
is melted away.
Yeah, he's got a gate now. He's got some space between two of those buried pieces that now he can come out.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I'm wondering what that affects. Because look at how Lily is, and Lily's kind of messed up, and but she's in possession of this thing, and I'm wondering. So my whole thing, this is what it is that, and please enlighten me because I tend to miss things like this. So the thing comes down in this thing, it comes to Earth. Now the impression I got that it was imprisoned in this thing, and whoever got rid of it was like, good Lord, thank you, get out of here.
Yeah, we're talking Superman glass
Yeah.
panel floating through
Yeah.
space. Yep.
So then it comes and it crashes and he gets away from it, but he keeps it in his lair. Is that what it is? I don't. And so the people find it. Did they take the whole thing or did they just take pieces of it? That's what I can't remember. But having, these are questions that I have, and I'll have to go back and rewatch probably a couple episodes. But so I would think that this thing has kind of power, and obviously it's scared of it. It doesn't want to get near it. But what it's doing with Lily is kind of the thing that's making me question, well, what is it then? If it's doing this to kids, do you think that it's influenced by this thing, or do you think that she's just kind of and lost it, and that's the reason why she's as dark as she is?
My answer is yes.
Yes.
I think those pieces that you can see her getting kind of paler and paler.
Yeah.
I think it kind of weakens those around, and like it was meant to encase the deadlights.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
keep them trapped flying through space, and then it just happened to hit Earth. So I have a feeling that that's what it's doing to her, and that's kind of what it would do to the deadlights inside of its encasement.
Gotcha.
That it's
Yeah.
weakening it. It's kind of keeping it down. It's kryptonite, pretty much.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I buy that. I'll buy that for $1. But yeah, that's the only questions that I had was like I was wondering what effect that it had. If is it an kind of a barrier for everything, or is it just a barrier for this evil? So yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think it's just he sees it and he's like, oh, that's gonna mess with me. And I think part of it we talk about all the time that it's what people believe, right? Is what's
Yeah.
true. And so I think
True.
the Native Americans they truly believe that that's what it was doing, was keeping him trapped there, and so that's the rules that he has to play by.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I
Yeah.
do think you did make a good point though, because I had forgot about Lily and the shard, and we see her at the end, but they need to replace that shard in that hole, so they have one. It's not as honking of a piece as the other one
Right.
was, but I mean,
Right.
maybe that's what we see next week is Will showing his dad going, let's go take it back, and they take it back and bury it.
Yeah. What did you think of Shaw's explanation for letting it loose or for freeing it? I mean, I think at the time I could buy into that, not his view, but why he would think that, because there's such a division in the country, and and him, there's a generational thing for the next generation and the next couple generations after. They're just, I'm starting to feel it, and it's like this thing of like, oh, they didn't, in my day we would do this and that and the other thing, and you start to realize that the way that you kind of think about things is becoming outdated, and so the only thing that you can do is kind of hold on to what you know. Well, we used to just do this and this and this. But, you see it now, even nowadays, it's like this whole thing of like, oh, wow, this is not how whatever your thing is. But I don't know. Sometimes I think I feel bad for Shaw because he's kind of espousing all this stuff that he's kind of justifying why he's unleashing this evil, but he has just no clue. Did you buy that at all? Or did you find any similarity to how maybe you think about things now? Looking back on your own kind of life.
I buy that he believes it
Yeah.
to be true, that he thinks that's what's going on. Everybody looks at things through their different, prisms, right? And different filters. And I think he feels that's the right thing to do. He served his country for a long time. He cares most about his country, and that's what he's trying to get at. Is it right? No. It doesn't make any logical sense that let's just make everybody afraid. And we'll be able to control them more. He didn't seem like the type that would want to do that, but he's also been in Derry for a little while.
That's true.
So, he's probably being influenced. When he first came, he might have had the purest motives.
Yeah.
But now it's tainted a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe
I agree.
When he got there, maybe it truly was, we want to keep him, we want to use this as a weapon against other countries that might hurt us. But then it evolved into, let's just use it on everybody. And that could be some of Pennywise's influence.
Because that comes around again with, what was it? Old man brain. One of the was that the same? Never mind. Choo Choo Train. Can't remember the thought. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
So the final thing that we see Pennywise wake up from that, blood float spa.
Beep boop, beep boop.
And
beep,
Will
boop.
gets a call. And like halfway through the call, I was like, that's not her. It's that Pennywise thing where things are just a little off, a little different. And Pennywise is right there when he turns around on the refrigerator. Now, here's my other Back to the Future issue here. It takes a physical form. It always has to be. I guess it always has to be some sort of physical form, but its original form is the deadlights, right? And then it builds around that if it needs to. So, like, it's choosing to be Pennywise in this pool of blood. Like, it could just be the deadlights just hanging out somewhere.
Yeah.
It's choosing to do this. And then now, when it shows up at Will's house, it's choosing to be the Pennywise version that has blood from the nose to the toes. I know it looks cool, and to us, we're like, look how badass that Pennywise looks.
Yeah.
But just Pennywise traversing through the universe, like, I get that it can manifest itself different places.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like true teleportation. My brain just starts to hurt. I'm like Austin Powers, where I go, I went cross-eyed.
Yeah.
It just hurts my brain when I start to think about it. I just have to go, no, a wizard did it, and just call it a day.
Well, I think that, it's like the John Carpenter's The Thing, right? This thing, they say it in that movie of like, this thing has probably been to 1,000 worlds and had access to 1,000 different types of things, which is, I think this is kind of the same idea, which is, which is the most kind of, what form can I take and stay in that will, allow me to, I guess, be more successful in hunting, all the stuff that you need to, or do all the things you need to do. And so I think it just stays in that just because, probably after a couple thousand years, you get lazy. You don't want to change your form too much. Maybe it takes too much energy. I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking if my nephew spilled a thing of cream for my coffee on me at brunch on Sunday, and I got home, I was like, oh, I gotta wash these jeans. I can't wear them again. Like, that was just a little bit of 2% milk or heavy cream or something. Pennywise is there, nose to toes blood, and he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, I don't think it, like you said, it has a hard time being human because it doesn't have these human-like qualities of like, oh, I should change that, or I should maybe into something less evil or whatever. I don't think it has that. I think it just sees, like at the beginning when it saw the clown, it's like, okay, I'm going to be the clown just so I can get some more kids. Yeah, I just don't think it knows how to humanize its existence to the extent that it could pass as a human, because we've kind of agreed that it just doesn't know how to do that.
It's not discerning whether it should wear its slipper Crocs out like I do. Like, I'm like, well, I'm just going to the gas station, so it's fine. I can still wear these. But if I'm going to walk around somewhere, no, I don't want to be wearing these.
Right. That's the unique Scott experience right there. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it has.
See me at a gas station, don't look down because I'm wearing my slipper Crocs probably. So yeah, next week predictions. What do you think's going to happen? And we've seen the trailers and stuff. But where do you think we're going?
It's going to be. I think it's. I hope that it sticks to the landing. At least a 8 out of 10 at the lowest. I think it's. Oh, gosh, I can't even articulate it. I think it's just going to all come to a head. I think the events of the season of the series happened in this episode. So I think what's left is just kind of the terrorization of the rest of the town. I mean, it's, as you can see in the trailer, all the fog is coming in. So it's unleashed, and I think a lot of people are going to die. And I think Charlotte's going to be one of them. I think, let's see, I don't know, Lily. I don't think Lily's going to make it out. I just, the way the other kids have kind of gotten it, it's just, I just don't see any hope for Lily, man. I feel bad for her, but we'll see. I think she's going to play a key part in how they get it back into its lair, but. I don't think she survives it. What about you? What are some of your picks?
Yeah, I mean, Lily-wise, there's some theory out there that she's Beverly's mother.
Really?
And that, because Beverly's mother dies. So there's some theories out there about that.
Oh, wow.
There's...
She like that Owen Wilson? Oh.
Wow. When I say wow like that, do you find that you end up doing it for the next 2 hours? Like it turns into a vocal tick for me. I have to keep going. Wow. So thank you for that. After this, I'm going to be doing wow for a solid 2 hours. Yeah, I think we're going to see. I think they're going to close the gate. I think they're going to use the extra shard. Yeah, drop it there. I do think Charlotte will die, but I think she'll die. I think Senior Hanlon is going to help that to happen, and then that's why he sticks around, because he feels some responsibility for to make sure that it stays and that kind of. But of course, he's going to forget. He's going to be grizzled, but he's going to forget the details. Yeah. The racism will stick around in his brain, but the Pennywise won't.
Right.
And I think that's where we're gonna end it. And it's just gonna be start up, get ready for the next cycle in 27 years. Pennywise will go back to that little bath. Yeah.
Jeez. One last question, real quick, too. Do you think they should have started with the earliest earliest version of it, as opposed to the one just before the movies and then the one earlier? And because I was just thinking about that after watching the episode last night. I was thinking, oh, maybe they should have started when it landed or something, Or,
I think that might have been too big of a stretch to pull.
Oh, that's true.
To pull people outside of the fandom in.
That's true. Didn't think of that.
Yeah, people want to go. They want to be able to go A to B and B to C. And now you're throwing in, a double letters like AA to ZZ. Yeah. I think this is the right way to do it. Get people pulled in this way, and if it does well, then you can go back another one. You can set some breadcrumbs for it. Yeah. I like that they're picking the augury for the season, and working backwards off of that. So they took the black spot. They go, okay, racism, that's what we have to play off of. Let's get some characters in here about that. Yeah, I think they did it the right way, and hopefully they're able to give a little bit of time next episode to, flash forward a little bit so that we're seeing more of the tie-in things that we might go, oh, it was, Richie's mom. I don't know that it is Richie's mom. I think they might just have used the name Rich.
Yeah.
in there. So we'll see where they go. One more episode. I'm gonna be bummed when it's over. It's been, even if I know you got Predator Badlands 5, Predator Earth,
Alien Earth.
sorry, vibes that you got concerns over that and it hurt you, but
Well, it's
hopefully this
so
one does
far
it.
it's outlasted in terms of it went to that went to shit like in episode 3 and 4. I mean, it started out kind of questionable, but it was like enough. You had enough interest to kind of override that, and then about 3 or 4. This one is pretty solid. So even if it misses the landing, I'd still give the series. It just depends on the. It has to stick the landing. So we'll see, and then I'll give it the rating. But this is the best. I feel like this is the second best show that I'm watching right now. The first being Pluribus, which is a great show as well. But I think this is a pretty good show.
Yeah, we're gonna do our recap of the year over on whatever this is called, same podcast, same channel, but that'll be coming out in a week or two. So I'm sure we're gonna be talking about this a little bit there too, because we'll have wrapped it up and we'll see where it falls with everything else from this season.
Yes.
Shows this roster.
Yes.
So what do you think? Do you think it ties in with the best of the year? Do you think there's some things they missed? Let us know. Instagram, YouTube, wherever you want to reach out to us. We're happy to hear you. Leave us a note. Leave us a comment. We love to see it and interact. So let us know down there. Until next week for another episode of whatever this is called. Remember, we're not mad. We're just disappointed. We'll see you next time.